What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk to you about NIO. I want to go over some of the data points, latest and updates, and everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So NIO is up 4.39% during the pre-market. A lot of volume. So it is top 10 most heavily traded so far this morning. So things are heating up. And essentially, coming from the company standpoint, there hasn't really been anything today. There was one thing that kind of came out that's worthwhile to bring up, and that is this right here. So starting July the 20th, Beijing only allows new energy vehicles with green license plates to operate on ride-hailing platforms, banning all internal combustion engine vehicles. This is huge, massive news. And so this obviously is one of the biggest attributing factors why NIO is up this morning. Aside from that, though, the broader market seems to be heating up as well because of a deal with Japan. So this is a pretty big investment, $550 billion to the States, on which the States supposedly gets to keep 90% of it. But yeah, this is one thing that's really fueling the both Japanese market to move higher as well as the American market. So things are starting to look pretty a-okay. There was a unique circumstance that did happen yesterday that a lot of heavily shorted stocks were getting kind of attacked. And so I've brought this up on a couple of other channels. And of course, there's bigger names that did get kind of more of the attention where they went up like 30-40%. But I do feel because of NIO and the presence of shorts, it did actually get a additional boost higher yesterday because of that. So yesterday, in case you don't know, it went up 10.84%. Yes, the registration numbers were good, but not that good to justify that. And even if we look on the secondary market and dark pool, a lot of random large transactions did occur. And even yesterday, you had abnormally high volume. So for whatever reason, institutions, and it seems to be more of a Reddit type of orchestrated thing, but it looks as though institutions and also retail are buying a lot of heavily shorted stocks, really pushing it higher. In many cases, shorts are doubling down and kind of calling out the bluff, but not really in NIO. So I think what happened yesterday was very unique and kind of abnormal, but even leading into yesterday, NIO had some good technicals. So this is why it's kind of hard to distinguish, and some people might disagree with me that happened on with NIO, but I think just generally speaking, even this morning, having NIO up this much and short starting to return is very abnormal. So at the time of doing this video, they were returning, I think it was about 200,000 shares. It just kind of disappeared right now, so they might have covered. But nonetheless, going into today, 11.32% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 174.71 million shares overall are being shorted. I've brought this up in the past, technically, on how shorts have been really returning a significant amount, and you can kind of tell that from the purple line. So it's good. They've been adding that certain level of buying pressure that's been really pushing NIO higher. But at the same time, given the circumstances of what's happening, also based on this news right here, I think NIO is ready to move to the next leg up. And for those of you that, I know I've brought this up in the past, but for those of you that always wonder why I bring up shorts, this is a good example. So for instance, yesterday there was 61 million shares being traded. 25 of that was associated in one way or another to shorts. Even the day prior, somehow this is kind of doing the 21st, then 22nd, then the 18th. So kind of just flip it. But essentially on the 21st, there was 30 million shares being traded, 12 of which was associated to shorts. So like almost any given day, there's about 30 to 50% of the overall volume kind of being influenced by shorts. So this is why I do bring it up, and this is why I think, given the circumstances, shorts returning is really pushing NIO higher. From the options standpoint for yesterday, there is a very strong consensus for it to be between that 5 to 550, which, given where we're at, is kind of looks realistic. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub roughly around 450. So they're anticipating a pullback for whatever reason. I'm not really sure exactly where that pullback would come from, but I do feel there is definitely a lot more upside, even more so if institutions keep getting in at the same level that they have been. But as of right now, with that 525 or 524, it is above all the key fib levels. So as far as right now, it is on the classic, trading between this R3 and this R2. So 553 is going to be the next strong target / resistance, and then 492 is going to be the next strong support. And then there will be that psychological $5 one as well, as far as a support level. One thing I do want to bring up, actually, going back over here, is looking at the open interest. Things are really heating up. So for whatever reason, if NIO is able to close above $5 by this Friday, this is where you'll easily be able to see a gamma squeeze, because looking at the open interest, you have 66,000 at that 5, 18,000 at that 450, and then 10,000 at that 4. So basically working out to be just shy of 9 million shares that would need to be covered by market makers. So again, we've seen this really lay the foundation for a nice push higher as it happened on Monday. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But like I said, I think big things might be coming from analyst ratings. There isn't really anything new. I would have anticipated more to come out, but still, it is what it is. Aside from what I've brought up in speculative topics, there hasn't really been any news articles about them. But on the actual chart itself, things are looking okay, very similar setup to what happened in 2024. So right now it is above all the key fib levels, above the ALMA. Stochastic RSI does show it's overbought, but this is something I've brought up almost every video, and I'm only bringing that up because that does mean the first sign of weakness. Whether it be specific to NIO or the broader market, you could see some negative consolidation. But nonetheless, things seem to be really heating up with NIO. So where do you see things going? Do you think that $6 is next? $7? What's your kind of general thoughts? Going back over here and moving to the 1 week chart, this is where you can see some very strong support and resistance points. So on the fib levels, 573 followed by 776. So for a lot of those individuals that kind of is throwing out those price targets of $7, it could happen, but in the short term, just watch for that 573, whether it be hit over the next couple of trading days or not. But just watch for 573, and then if it is able to successfully get above that, then honestly, yeah, $7 could be on the table. So let me know your thoughts on NIO. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And what's your general thoughts on this news right here about them banning all internal combustion engine vehicles? This is honestly huge news. And China's always just one step ahead of the States. I feel like the States is kind of going backwards. So like China's at least moving in the right direction, even though that market is completely cutthroat and just so aggressive. So it's really hard to grow. But nonetheless, if you have this type of kind of moves and actions, then it should really add a certain level of demand overall. So yeah, let me know your viewpoint on this one as well. But one final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, many of which have been absolutely on point and bangers. Definitely worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.